This is a record player.
Yeah, we can squeeze around in, make sure everyone can get in. Yeah, you have a quick question? Yeah, they do watch. That's one of the things that those put in the cookies. Alright, well, welcome to the control room, everybody. You passed through, all that stuff on the way in. So a couple things to point out. That gray box up there, that is the helmsman station. So that would control the rudders, which control the left and right motion. These two right here are the planesman station. So these would work together to dive and service the U-boat. This is the ladder up to the conning tower. So up here, this is where the periscopes would be. This was also the main entrance and exit of the U-505. So in the days leading up to June 4th, 1944, the U-505 spotted Captain Dan Gallery's hunter-killer task group making their way across the horizon, so they sounded the crash dive bell. And that meant that every off-duty officer ran as fast as they could to the forward compartments. They all dogpiled on top of each other, making the front heavier and making it easier to submerge. So doing this, they could submerge the U-505 in about 37 seconds. Now they could safely dive down to about 300 feet. And when they got down there, they started to hear this pinging on the hull. That pinging is active sonar from the American task group. So you know how like a bat uses echolocation to find its prey in the dark? Well, that's exactly what the Americans are doing right now. They're using sound to try and find the U-505. And they knew that, so they didn't want to make any sound, really. They want to make as little sound as possible. Sound travels better in water than it does in air, so even the sound of a dropped wrench down here can be heard for miles and miles around. So they wouldn't want to make too much noise, but they'd also want to conserve your batteries. Once down here, you didn't know how long you would be down here. So all non-essential systems are turned off, including the lights. So you didn't want to, waste too much energy, but you would also want to conserve your oxygen. So every off-duty officer was ordered to go to sleep. The thought there being that a sleeping man should use less oxygen than an awake man, and he should also probably make less noise. So for about 2 days, this was the scene. The pinging kept getting louder and louder and closer, and Captain Longa kept evading it. But eventually he knew his luck wasn't going to last forever, so he had to go down even deeper to 500 feet. Now at 500 feet, there are 16 tons of pressure per square foot on the outer hull. Now that's a lot of pressure, but you're also getting dangerously close to your crush depth, which is at about 755 feet. The pressure around you will become too great, and your hull will be crushed like a tin can. Now when you're down that deep at 500, there's pretty much one sound you don't want to hear, and that's a splash from above, because splashes mean depth charges are on their way. So once you heard that, all you could do was hold on. Rudders are jammed. They no longer have control of the boat, and they are in an uncontrollable downward spiral towards the bottom of the ocean. Remember, at 7:55, they'll be crushed. So Captain Longa knows if he ever wants to see the surface again, they have to blow the ballast tanks and forcefully surface the U-boat. So they do just that. The ballast tanks are blown, they go up to the surface. Captain Longa and 2 of his officers go up this ladder out onto the deck, where they are met with 6 continuous minutes of fire from the American task group. Captain Longa is shot through the knee. He will later have his leg amputated. 1 other man is injured and 1 man is killed. Now he would be the only fatality from this entire day. Now in order to protect the secrets on board a U-boat, it is standard procedure to scuttle it or sink it on purpose if you're going to abandon it. So there are 14 scuttle charges placed throughout the U-505, little self-destruct explosives. And before they left, 1 German officer also took the cap off of the sea strainer, which is a direct pipe to the water outside. So when the 9-man American boarding party came down this ladder, they were met with water gushing into this room and seeping down into the bilges. They also knew there were those 14 charges on board, so at any moment this boat could explode or sink. So they all ran around pulling wires out of these charges, carrying as many documents as they could find. One man, Zenon Vilakocious, saw that the cap to the sea strainer was lying right next to the sea strainer itself. So he picked it up, put it back on, sealed it, and essentially saved the U-boat right then and there. They also found 13 of those 14 charges. That left one unaccounted for, and we'll find out what happened to it in the electric motor room. So we'll pass through the diesel engine room along the way. On your way out of this room, though, look on the bottom left-hand side. You can see the sea strainer and the cap right there. Yeah, please make your way to the right. Watch your head, and I'll see you all there. Now you can do it.
Thank you. For holding you up, I apologize.
Not at all.
And the diesels, they can go a lot faster. They can go about 18 knots or 21 miles an hour, while the electrics could go about 7 knots or 8 miles an hour. That might not seem too much, but it was still faster than most merchant vessels, so this was a fast boat. But where are we in our story? The U-505 is on the surface, but they're going in a big circle because those rudders are jammed. The Americans know that there is a manual rudder control behind this hatch in the aft torpedo room. So they had to get back here if they want to straighten the boat out, attach a tow cable, and pump out all the water. But for some reason, this is the only hatch on board that's closed and sealed. They don't know why that is. It could be that 14th charge. It could be flooded. It could be nothing. But Dan Gallery comes down here himself. He orders everyone else out of the room. He doesn't want them in any unnecessary danger. He came up here, felt around the edge for any wires, and then opened the hatch. And nothing happened, which was the absolute best thing that could have happened. He's just met with that glow of phosphorescent pink. So the Germans would put all their important systems and pipes with this phosphorescent glow-in-the-dark paint so they could operate the U-boat when it was dark. Now, they did find that 14th charge, but it wasn't armed. In fact, none of the charges on board were ever armed. There were only 3 men that even knew how to arm them. Captain Longa, his radio man, and another officer. Those first 2 were injured up above in the air attack, and the third one, he assumed that the pirates had done it before they left, so he abandoned the boat as well. But back here they did find 2 T5 acoustic homing torpedoes, which were top secret technology at the time. They were torpedoes that could actually home in on the sound of other ships' engines. And they also found over 900 pounds of classified documents on board. Now it is estimated that the intelligence haul from this U-boat alone possibly helped end the war months in advance and saved the lives of thousands of sailors on both sides. So that's why today this is a National Historic Landmark. It's also a war memorial for all the sailors that died in World War I and II on all sides of the war. But it just come up here in this room and look around. I just asked that you don't step in the room. It's a burial floor. But if you look to the left, you can see the second hand on the second head. That big black steering wheel in the back is the manual rudder controls. Those are torpedo tubes back there. So you have the torpedo room in the front, in the back. There are torpedoes every way. Yeah, I'll be outside answering any questions you have, but please come up here, poke your head in, look around, ask me a question on the way out, and thank you all so much.